I want to introduce you to our next YouTube star, GloZell Green.
Hey, GloZell.
Hello.
How are you? Good to see you.
Yay.
How you doing?
Excellent.
That's a nice painting.
Thank you.
Did you do that yourself?
My
Was that a
husband
self-portrait?
did.
Your husband did?
Yes.
Oh, see there, he loves you, I can tell.
Thank you.
That's great. He's quite an artist.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, let's get started. My social media reaches over 5 million fans.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a big star.
Thank you. Especially now. But I feel like I thought I was able to say whatever I wanted to say, whenever I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it, because it was mine. Right. But then the Sony hacking thing happened. Right. And it's like, why didn't the government help Sony feel protected and safe enough to release the film on time? Because something like that, the fallout, affects me.
Well, look, cybersecurity is a huge issue. We've been working on since I came into office, and in fairness, the administration before me probably was starting to work on it, although the changes in the media have happened so fast and so much stuff is going online today that it becomes that much more important. The challenge we've got is that most of the internet and the infrastructure that allows you to be posting on YouTube and people accessing your stuff, most of that stuff's in private hands. It's not in public hands. And so what we have to do is to work with private companies, telling them, here's what we're seeing, here's how you can protect yourself, here's how you should share information with other companies who start seeing hackers getting into their stuff, so that everybody can pool the information and we can all protect each other together. And it moves very fast because these hackers you don't have to have a lot of equipment in order to be able to do this hacking. In fact, the hacking against Sony, which we believe was done by North Korea, it wasn't even that sophisticated, but it just goes to show how vulnerable we are. So we continue to do more with private industry to share with them best practices so how they can protect themselves. It's sort of like with your own ATM machine or ATM card or your passcode, your passwords, your personal privacy. There's certain things you can do to make yourself more protected. So we're sharing that information with them. But what we're also asking Congress to do is pass a law that would give us more tools to fight against this in the future. And I'm confident that this is something that we can actually get some good bipartisan support for. So you're going to be all right. People are going to still be able to watch your show. I promise.
Okay.
Okay.
I have 3 family members who are in the law enforcement. And my husband, who painted that, yes, he's retired from the Air Force.
Well, we're grateful for his service. You tell him thank you.
I will do that.
Okay.
However, he's mad at me right now because I cut all the hoods off his hoodies. I did that for real to protect him because I'm afraid when he goes outside that somebody might shoot and kill him. And it's not like regular folks, it's the popo. I hope that this changes. How can we bridge the gap between black African-American males and white cops?
Well, first of all, we always have to just remind ourselves that the overwhelming majority of police officers, they are doing a really tough job and they're doing it well and they're doing it professionally. What we also know is that there's still biases in our society that in split-second situations where people are having to make quick decisions, that studies have shown African-American males are seen as more threatening, which puts them in more vulnerable positions.
Yes.
Young African-American males are typically seen as older than they are. And so a lot of the way to solve this is to improve training so people can be aware of their biases ahead of time. And when I was in the state legislature back in Illinois, for example, I passed a racial profiling bill. It essentially said, how are we going to tackle this problem? Let's make sure we're keeping track of the race of everybody that was being stopped. And just by the small fix of keeping track, suddenly each cop, when they were about to make a traffic stop, they had to think, okay, am I stopping this person because I should be stopping them, or is some bias at work? And just that kind of mindfulness about it ended up resulting in better data, better policing, more trust by the communities that are affected. And we can do some of that same, that same stuff and use those same tools. I've put together a task force with police and community activists, including some of the young people who were actively involved in the Ferguson protests, to make sure that we come up with what are the best training practices, what are the best tools, more body cameras on police officers so that they know they're being watched and how they're operating. And we're going to take some of those recommendations and we're going to put federal muscle behind them to see if we can make sure that communities all across the country are implementing.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, you know, it's something that I think everybody, not just African Americans or Latinos, but everybody should be concerned about, because you get better policing when communities have confidence that the police are protecting and serving all people and not in any way showing bias. And that's something that we should all have an interest in.
Amen to that.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
I grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends, close friends, who are Cuban Americans.
Right.
And I've heard the stories of their families escaping.
Right.
And some of them didn't even make it to come
Right.
to the United States for a better life, to
Right.
get away from the Castros.
Right.
Okay. I mean, the guy puts Dick in dictatorship. So I'm trying to understand,
Yeah.
how do you justify dealing with the Castros?
Well, here's what's happened. We've had the same policy since I was born, which was we were going to have an embargo, we were going to cut off all contact, all communication, and nothing changed. And, you know, I've said this before, when you do something over and over again for 50 years and it doesn't work, it's time to try something new. And we started off initially by allowing more travel to Cuba, by Cuban Americans to visit their family, sending more money back to their family members to help them back in Cuba. We've been doing that for the last 4 or so years. And it turns out it's been helpful to the people in Cuba. They have more contact with their family. It gives them more hope. Now what we're saying is that by normalizing relations, we're going to be able to still put pressure on the Cuban government, but also what happens now is you've got more visitors to Cuba. You start getting telecommunications into Cuba. You start getting the internet into Cuba. People's minds begin to change. There's more transparency about what's going on. And over time, what you're going to see gradually is a shift, because not everybody in Cuba is able to escape to the United States. And the goal ultimately is to make sure that there's freedom in Cuba, not just for the folks who have left.
This is dependent on the Supreme Court ruling, but do you think that same-sex marriage will be legalized in all of the United States during the time that you're in office? And what can you do to push that along?
Well, we've done a lot, obviously, to push it along. You know, I announced my belief that same-sex marriage should be legal, that people should be treated the same. We argued against, as an administration before the Supreme Court, we argued against the Defense of Marriage Act that was treating married couples, same-sex couples, differently in terms of federal benefits. The Supreme Court now is going to be taking on a case. My hope is that they go ahead and recognize what I think the majority of people in America now recognize, which is two people who love each other and are treating each other with respect and aren't bothering anybody else. Why would the law treat them differently?
Why?
Why?
I mean, why?
There's no good reason for it. And so as a consequence, I think that I'm hopeful the Supreme Court comes to the right decision, but I will tell you, people's hearts have opened up on this issue. I think people know that treating folks unfairly, even if you disagree with their lifestyle choice, the fact of the matter is they're not bothering you. Let them live their lives, and under the law, they should be treated equally. And as far as me personally, just to see all the loving gay and lesbian couples that I know who are great parents and great partners, the idea that we would not treat them like the brothers and sisters that they are, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You're almost done with me and and your time as president.
Yeah.
With the time left, what would you hope your legacy is?
Well, you know, we saved an economy that was on the brink of depression. We've created 11 million new jobs. We've doubled clean energy. We've reduced pollution. We've made sure that more young people can go to college. We have given now, so far, 10 million people health insurance that didn't have it before, and that's going to grow over time. We have ended 2 wars in a responsible way, but we still have challenges. Every day I wake up and I ask myself, in particular, how can I make sure that folks who are working hard can not just survive, but how can they thrive? How can they get ahead? And so in the State of the Union that I just gave, we talked about how can we provide more help for young families with child care. Huge burden on a lot of people. How can we make sure that college is more affordable? And what I want to do is make sure that the first 2 years of community colleges are free, so that young people can have confidence that if they go and try to get more skills, that they're not going to be paying through the nose in terms of a lifetime of debt. I want to make sure that we're doing more to raise the minimum wage and providing paid sick leave. So there's a lot of basic stuff that we can do that would ensure the economy goes strong, but more importantly, that everybody benefits from a strong economy. And that's going to be my focus over the next 2 years. And once I'm done, then I'll look back and I'll see what the legacy is. But hopefully it'll be one in which I'm making sure that everybody in this country can succeed.
Okay, my mama said whenever you go to somebody's house, you have to give them something.
Oh,
Don't come
okay.
empty-handed.
Right.
So I have green lipsticks, one for your first wife.
My first
I
wife?
mean,
Do you know something I don't?
For the first
One for
lady,
the first lady.
and the first children.
And the first, I'm teasing.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna put these. I'll keep
Okay,
these here.
let me just take a look at these, though.
They
are very, yeah. I mean, it is impressive stuff. I'm gonna see how it looks. I'm gonna ask Michelle to try it on maybe tonight.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
You didn't get some green lipstick on my
Well, I'm not
coat,
gonna. Well, no.
All right, thank you.